of my own direction. No one can pull me out. I've always felt different from the others. I'm running away now. Fears are fading, won't stop bleeding. 'Cause I'm sick of standing up instead of going down. I'm sick of never being able to cross the line. I'm sick of pretending everything is fine. You got it, you're just a fucking freak like me. Burning inside, but I am alive. I'm not the one that you used to know. I've always hated to act like the others. I found my way to. Tears are fading, won't stop bleeding. Fears are fading, fears are fading. 'Cause I'm sick of standing up instead of going down. I'm sick of never being able to cross the line. I'm sick of pretending everything is fine. You got it, you took a fucking break like me. Cause I'm sick of standing up instead of going down. I'm sick of never being able to cross the line. I'm sick of pretending everything is fine. You got it, you're just a fucking freak like me. Fucking freak like me, yeah. A fucking freak like me, yeah.
And boom, just like that, it's Thursday night. And you know that means it's party time with the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson. That man beside me, you know him as the man with the angelic voice, Papa Smokes. And Papa Smokes, we have a very special guest, as you'll see right down below on our screen, the one, Shaun Moore.
What up? What up?
Welcome to the show. So happy to have you here.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, guys.
Oh, it's going to be a fun night tonight as we're being joined in a live capacity by our good friend Bastard69. Let's go, boys, he says. Always out supporting the PPW Nation there in the front row, being one of the noisiest guys out there, and we're so glad to have him on board. And speaking of PPW, we're going to get a little bit of your history as well here. But, you know, you had a match just the other night. Let's talk about that first. PPW presents Love is Dead just this last Saturday. It took on a debut, Marz The Specialist. What a matchup that was. Can you tell us a little bit about that matchup in particular, the atmosphere there at the arena that night, Saturday night, and also a little bit about your opponent, Marz, because he was very new to the PPW Nation.
Yeah, the Marz, he's a great opponent. He's a guy that's been wrestling in Alberta, making his name up there, and I like wrestling him. We've wrestled each other a couple times now at this point. My big thing is I tell people to fight me, and I want people to bring the fight as much as possible. And the Marz definitely brings that fight as much as possible, and he reminds me of myself when I was his age. So getting to be in the ring with him is like kind of a mirror, and especially in Saskatoon, it was a great atmosphere and a great fight against him. The crowd was phenomenal, as we saw. We broke the record there for the show, so they were raucous from the start. And like I said, Marz brought the fight like crazy. Like you said, you saw what he was doing to my arm in the match. He was going on that thing like crazy. So, made it difficult. But again, pulled through. Had to use a lot of power moves in that matchup, which I don't usually use as much. So that was a little bit different. But Marz is a phenomenal opponent. And he's going to be a really good wrestler one day.
Yeah, he came along very nicely. It was great to see him make that debut that night. But going back to yourself again, let's give everyone coming in here a little bit of chance to learn a little bit more about Shaun Moore. We're being joined by our Birdman 15, as well as B. Carter, the PPW super fan from the U.S., and as well as Auntie Wuji, who's always there behind the scenes helping us at all the PPW shows as well, too. Thanks for joining us in. But we want to know a little bit more about your history, what got you hooked on professional wrestling growing up, what got you into training, and where it got you to at the start of your career.
I have not been watching wrestling. I think my mom and my dad introduced me to wrestling probably when I was about like 6 months old. My dad was a big wrestling fan. My parents are from Barbados. In the Caribbean. So my dad went to the territory shows out there. So he used to see Carlitos Colon, Abdul the Butcher, all those guys battle in the Caribbean territory. So when they would come in from Puerto Rico and whatnot, so he watched wrestling from that point. So then I was born in '92. So whilst I was being born, I'm from England originally. So whilst I was being born, SummerSlam '92 was going on. I was born like a couple months before that. So like I said, like wrestling has been part of my life since the very beginning. So it was kind of a guarantee I was going to get involved in it. And then when I moved to Canada in high school, again, my favorites, Shelton Benjamin, Kurt Angle, were all amateurs. So that's what got me into my background, my style that you see me wrestling. I went into amateur wrestling in high school and university. And that's what got me on the path to pro wrestling as we know it right now.
Perfect. And again, as B. Carter mentioning, Papa Smokes, are you a little starstruck there? Yeah, it's even quiet there tonight to the audience. I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend, before they think you're a little too starstruck.
Well, after that match on Saturday night against Marz The Specialist, I am a little starstruck. That was really something. But, Shaun, it's a real thrill to have you on the show. We wanted to talk to you for a while on here, and this is really cool. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
You just started to touch on some of your athletic background. Obviously, you've done some amateur wrestling and all that. Anything else? Because I've even watched your workouts, or sorry, not your workouts, but your warm-ups before doing the PPW shows. I think there's some wrestlers that wouldn't make it through your warm-up. So it's obvious that you're very athletic. What else? What other kinds of sports did you do? And can you give us a little peek in on what you do for workouts nowadays, including bodybuilding and cardio work and that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I played, lots of sports. Martial arts was the other big one I did. Korean form of martial arts, Tang Soo Do. I got my black belt in that at 12. And I competed in the Grand and National Championships in the UK. And I wasn't allowed to compete in the European Championships because you had to be 18 years of age, and I was only 13. So I had qualified, but I was too young to play. So that is the other major background like I have is the amateur wrestling, which like I said, I went to college and then competed in the NIA and the CIS in both Canada and America respectively, and then in martial arts in the UK. And then I played football, or American football is what we call it in England. But I was running back. I was a defender in football. I did long jump in high school. That was always a challenge because I'm 5'8", and everybody else is like 6'2" in long jump. So I did long jump provincially and in city-wise. I played rugby, and then my other sport growing up was gymnastics. I was in gymnastics up until I moved to Canada. In terms of workouts, how do I describe this? Like, I do lots of calisthenics. Typically, if you go through an average workout with me, I would start my workout with, I usually stretch lots, like 20-minute stretch. Then I would do about 100 push-ups, regular variation, 100 push-ups, diamond variation. And then I would do about 200 squats. And then I would do multiple variations that equal up to 200 with sit-ups, crunches, and then a plank. And then I would go into whatever my workout would be for the day. So whether I'm working back, shoulders, arms, various different types of weights. And then I would finish up with the Stairmaster or burpees or kettlebell swings for cardio. That's like a basic type of workout I do. Bodybuilding is a very big passion of mine. You guys have seen me since the beginning of my career. I started out, I was 150 pounds. Right now I weigh 200. So I've gained a lot of weight since we started wrestling. So nutrition and food and working out is a very, very big part of my life. And also as well as a wrestler, because I want to be able to not only perform, but look like the wrestler that I claim to be. And I feel like I'm really starting to get to that point in my career at this moment.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned about the time frame there. I just want to touch on that. So I would have first met you, I think it was about 6 years ago, High Impact Wrestling, when I first joined up around there. So correct me if I'm wrong, that was around the start of your career or just shortly before that?
I started about 2 years before. 2014 is when I first started.
Oh, wow. So you were light years ahead of a lot of people then, as far as I'm concerned, because that's incredible to find out it was only that short period of time when you were working there at the time. Again, former tag team champion over in HIW as well when I met you there, along with Ace Riviera.
Yes.
That was a great time. of course. But going single, you've been able to travel the world. You've been all over the place. Where are some of the most interesting places that you've had the opportunity to work so far in your career?
Most interest before was Mexico. So I was in Mexico about 4 to 6 months last year. I had a chance to wrestle in Mexico City and in Guadalajara. I wrestled in Arena Neza, which is a very famous arena in there, and then for a company called IWRG. And I wrestled in various Arena Mamaluchas. I was fortunately able to train under Ultimo Guerrero from CMLL. So that was an incredible experience. So that probably is by far, like, compared to wrestling in America and Canada, probably the coolest experience I got to because it was a completely brand new style, as well as being able to wrestle in a completely different country and culture as well.
Yeah, that must be interesting, going to a country where they have a completely different wrestling style, but also a bunch of opponents that you've never worked with before. That's going to be challenging.
Yes, and it was. Like I said, language barriers was huge. That was definitely something to overcome. And it also added another facet to my game because going over there, not that I don't use high-flying moves, I never used them before, but obviously Lucha Libre is very high on acrobatics, prettiness of the moves and stuff like that. So being able to bring my style and then translate that into Lucha was definitely an interesting challenge that I got to take part in, which I was very happy with. And I think coming back, I've been able to add some stuff and add a new flair to my game since I've been back here in Canada.
Nice. We got Basser mentioning that he loved following your Mexico trip.
Thank you very much, man.
We got Astrid joining us. Of course, Astrid getting herself seen on Impact tonight. So again, check out Impact if you want to see Astrid getting a small spot on screen there. And again, we had a question coming in here, and maybe you haven't wrestled this man, you can let us know, or maybe you've got your eyes on wrestling him sometime down the road. B. Carter wants to know about Alexander Hammerstone, the current MLW heavyweight champion. If you've ever crossed paths or be interested in crossing paths.
We have not crossed paths yet, but I would definitely be interested in it, and I would be interested in the MLW heavyweight championship. Like I said, again, you talk about a different matchup, right? Like, he's a very big, jack guy, and like I said, it's like I like intensity, and I bring a ton of intensity to the ring, and I feel like a match like that would be incredible and would be a fight from start to finish. So that's something I'd be very interested in taking part in.
And B. Carter saying he would love to see it. We would too, of course. We would definitely love to see it. That would be great if we could get that in a PPW ring. I wonder if we could make that kind of thing happen. I'm not too sure, but that would be fantastic nonetheless. But outside, okay, so you've said you've done Canada, U.S., Mexico. Where else in the world have you traveled to as well too?
I've been to Europe, but not for wrestling yet. That is the next step is, like I said, for other sports, I've been to Europe, England. So again, 2023 has been going very, very well for me for this year. So I'm hoping that by this year that will change and I will be now in another place as well.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Be able to get more experience there across seas as well. And you said originally born in England. When did you transition over to Canada? And
2005. So that might have dated me age-wise. It's when I moved over.
Yeah. And what was that transition like for you as well too? I know my family originally from England as well too, so I know the lay of land. What part of England, I should ask first?
Before I left, I was from Milton Keynes.
Okay,
I was born in London, but we lived all over the country. We moved quite a bit when I was younger. So I think when I was younger, I didn't really know what the change was. As I've gotten older, I've started to see like, okay, I did and said some things differently to other people, and I think I kind of have realized as I've grown up that I'm like, little differences was because I moved over when I was in high school. So I think I got to live a decent portion of my life in England first. It wasn't like I moved over when I was like 3 or 4 and have no recollection. So again, like I haven't gone back yet since I've moved over. So my hope is that this year I'm able to go back there, and especially for wrestling would be really good.
So I got to ask, were you an MK Dons fan growing up then?
Yes. Funny enough, I actually played at the academy over there for a little bit.
Nice.
When I was playing football. So yeah, fun football fact over there for that. So, yeah,
that's right. Yeah, no, I love talking soccer, I guess, for everybody here again on the channel as well too. Because I mean, I grew up player, coach, everything like that as well too. And we got B Carter coming in. Name him the PPW champ and let him take the belt around the world.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know what I mean?
Let's do it.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because we got Sheik Akbar Shabazz. He's been running around with that championship. I mean, one hell of a champion nonetheless. Sheik is a tough boy. He's been going out there defending the belt, talking smack, a lot of smack about he's the longest reigning PPW champion. And again, not hard to talk that kind of smack when you're the only one to hold the title so far. But I got to imagine you've got to have your eyes set on that gold yourself.
Last time we wrestled in PPW in the non-title match, the show I was previously, she used some pretty underhanded tactics. So like I said, it's like, I like it. Give me no DQ with Sheik so I can make sure that he don't do none of that business, and me him title match. I guess I'll take that belt back to Mexico. I know some people don't want to see that belt defended down there. So,
I would be looking forward to seeing it myself. That would be fantastic. Papa Smokes, I've been taking a little bit over on the show here. I'm going to throw it back to you.
No, that's okay. I was just thinking about the weekend that you must have had, Shaun, when you had a hard-hitting match on Saturday night. You must have still been wet from the shower when you jumped on the plane out to Ottawa, and you were invited to be backstage at Monday Night Raw. I saw your tweet, at least. Can you tell us a little about that? That must have been very exciting.
Yeah, it was a very big weekend for me. Very, very big weekend. The first show was in Calgary at the old Stampede Pavilion. As you saw there, it was like 900 to 1,000 people they drew for that show. And again, all the history, like there was all the Stampede legends and stuff that was all at the show. So that itself was a cool atmosphere. Any wrestler that's from Western Canada having the opportunity to wrestle in the pavilion there in Calgary with the entire Hart family that was there as well. That was a really cool personable moment for me. And then getting to compete in Saskatoon, we said setting a record was huge. Like I said, big weekend for everybody. Can't stress that enough. Like that was massive. And then always grateful for the opportunity with WWE, and I hope it is the first of many opportunities with them. Being able to be in that environment and to speak with the people backstage there, and to be involved, and to not only be involved, but to be asked and to be looked at to be a part of that is massive, and it's definitely the direction that I'm looking to go into. So.
Oh, that's fantastic news. Very, very happy to have seen that for you, of course. And Bob Smokes, I'm interrupting you there. Take back over, sir.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, is that what they do sometimes, is have some independent wrestlers backstage just as an invited thing, just so you can kind of soak in and talk a little bit and see what the environment is like?
See what it's like, So like I said, it's like, that was huge. Definitely was very excited about that opportunity that came up for me.
Very cool. And now Vince has your number on his Rolodex too, right? So
I hope so.
Yeah. And B Carter, I think this one's more directed at me here. When is the match going to be viewable for us in the international community?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? B Carter, I promise you, we've got some great, fantastic Shaun Moore matches coming up for you on the PPW YouTube channel very, very soon here. There is at least 2 or 3 more in the bag, including one against El Asesino that hasn't quite hit the airs yet.
That was a great match.
I mean, he is something else. He is one hell of a pro wrestler. Like the Sheik, he will go to any length to pick up that W.
Yes. I need to face somebody that's not going to cheat. I need to face somebody that's going to have a straight wrestling match.
Good luck with that one.
Well, speaking of people you might have crossed paths with sometime along your career, I imagine this name won't come as much of a surprise. My brunch buster brother on Sundays, Mr. Chris Parrish, joining us in the chat.
What up,
and he's saying, Shaun Moore should be signed. Enough said. I think we can all be in agreement with that one for sure. Definitely. So, Papa Smokes, go right back over to you.
Yeah, I have a question that I've been asking some of our guests over the past couple of years. This question is almost becoming outdated, but you'll see what I mean by it. Well, I'm talking about COVID, when everything was shut down for the a few months in 2020. Is that when that was? Yeah. That's almost 3 years ago now. But anyway, a lot of us had extra time on our hands. And I was one guy that went back into the wrestling archives and started watching a lot of old stuff, just to get my back knowledge going and all that. and I've been asking some of the wrestlers too, what did you do if you had some extra time there? What were you watching? What were you studying, and what were you trying to improve in your wrestling game?
I was actually training at the LA Dojo in New Japan during 2020. So
Oh, yeah.
I was very busy during 2020. In terms of wrestling, I've said before, my favorite time period for wrestling is the one I grew up with, which is about 2002 to like 2007. The old TNA X division, ROH, and that incredible SmackDown 5. To me, it combines the best of technical intensity and high-flying athleticism, and that's kind of what I mirror my whole style after. So I know I've said to people before, like Bryan Danielson versus Takeshi Morishima from ROH is one of my favorite matches to view. I always say if anybody's looking at viewing a match, Guerrero Mysterio from Halloween Havoc is always a phenomenal match. In terms of tag team wrestling, No Mercy 2002, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit versus Rey Mysterio and Edge for those tag titles for the first time. Unbelievable, like 30, 40 minutes of just straight incredible wrestling. Funny enough, I watched the other day again, AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels had a Iron Man match, 30 minutes, an Impact. Phenomenal match. So like anything from that time period, that style is usually what I'm viewing or watching. Like I watch other stuff as well, but that's a personal favorite for me.
For sure. Sometimes people sleep on TNA Impact from that time, but that 2005 to 2009 has a lot of good stuff. Mm-hmm. And now look at where all those top guys are. They're the top guys in the big companies. And that was just a training ground for all kinds of young wrestlers watching that stuff, including AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and all the great talent they had for a while there.
Yeah, like I said, it's my favorite. And like I said, you can always learn something. And again, I always stress to watch. TNA is a very good one to watch stuff like that from. Yes, Ray and Kurt Angle from SummerSlam is my favorite opening match of all time. Just reading Chris's comment there. But that time period is amazing for that because it's like the precursor to what we have nowadays. And there's so many hidden gem stuff in there that you can study and utilize and add to your style that people haven't seen in now almost 20 years. So I love it.
Sounds good. Before we get to any final touches here, Pop Smokes, any other questions that you got for Shaun Moore?
Well, yeah, I would like to just ask what you would say to the PPW Nation, to all the fans that come out, pack that building every show that we have, scream their lungs out, and a lot of it for you as well. What would you say to the fans before your next appearance here?
Firstly, thank you. And then secondly, I was like, again, I'm happy they come to the shows. I can't wait for them to be there. Like I said, the atmosphere, I was watching a video, and honestly, the video didn't do it justice how crazy the atmosphere was on Saturday. So for anybody else that's never been to a PPW show, to check it out, because especially in that venue, and it's right downtown, and like the crowd is just as important for the show as we are. Like they are amazing. And like I said, I hope it continues to get better. And thank you for them for always supporting me and giving me a great reaction when I come out. I'm always grateful for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's always a fantastic time. Now, because we're playing this across our local establishment, OLE Podcast, as well as the Video Bros Network, and the replay will be put up on the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel as well, too. We have a little tradition at OLE, and I know Chris Parrish would probably smack me upside the head if I didn't get you to do this. But because the call letters OLE give us OLE, we have what we call the OLE Pod Challenge. And what it is a little bit of fun where we get our guests to get right into the microphone. Yeah, he's calling me out on it. OLE Pod Challenge. We get you to give a big OLE into the microphone for us.
Oh, a big one.
Whatever you got for us. As good as you got.
Do you want it to be like a chant or just like a single OLE?
Just a single OLE. The best one you could give to us here today.
Okay. Get myself ready here. Let's get ready.
Just warm it up.
Yeah, you got to stretch, keep limber. Get ready. Neck crack. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh!
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Best one yet.
Love it.
There we
So,
go.
but before we do let you go here, we're going to give you an opportunity to plug your socials, plug whatever you got coming up, any matches, anything that people should be on the lookout for.
My Instagram is at Shaun M Fit. I do this on every single thing because when I created my Twitter account, my username was not very good, so I have to check it up to see what it is every single time. It is at Shaun_Moore3 on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. I am way more engaging in chats on Twitter or Instagram. I know people on Facebook have sent me messages. It's not that I'm ignoring them. It's just that I'm not on Facebook as much. So Instagram and Twitter is definitely the place to think. Yes, somebody from Chicago should book me. I totally agree with that. But yes, at Shaun M Fit and at Shaun_Moore3. Those are the places that you can follow me on social media. And again, thank you everybody for
really appreciate you joining us here today, spending your time with us and our audience as well too, and looking forward to hopefully seeing you out at the next PPW event on April the 22nd as well too.
Yes
Awesome. Thank you very much, Shaun. Really appreciate it. Have yourself a wonderful day. Take care, my man.
Thanks, Shaun.
I will. Thank you very much, guys.
See you later. All right. And yes, everybody, that was the one Shaun Moore. You can check him out on Prairie Pro Wrestling as well too. But yeah, Papa Smokes, that's what we had for the interview portion. What we got coming up here? Anything from this week that you want to discuss?
Well, I'm still kind of buzzing about the PPW show Love is Dead on Saturday night. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because as Shaun was mentioning, it was a record-breaking night. We had more fans in attendance than we've ever had at any other show. We packed that joint, the Cosmos Center, just off Broadway in Saskatoon. We love the place, and they treat us well, and the fans love to pack the joint. Lined up around the block, as usual, to get in for that 7:30 bell time. And just like he thanked the fans, I just always want to thank the fans because, you know, it sounds like I'm just kissing ass, but we have the best fans. They're so smart. They know everything about all the wrestlers. They do the chants. They do the cat calling. They do the cheering. It's tremendous. And I love the atmosphere there. You and I, always the video bros, hitting the camera work at ringside. And we just got to have the best nation of fans going. And how did you feel about the show on Saturday night, Munson? You were covered in sweat by the end of it. You were working hard.
I was covered in sweat before the night even started. Great interview from Andy Woogie. Thank you very much. That was great. And PPW Nation packed the building. Show. Yeah, they did. You know what? I was sweating before things kicked off, and then you guys packed that damn building. I was sweating like well, you know what? Should I say it on the channel? I don't know. It's something in church anyway.
Yeah.
Anytime love perishes, record are broken. All right. And where is the merch? The PPW merch? That's a damn good question, actually, Papa. So we gotta maybe get some new PPW shirts on the go here. Maybe a few new things that we could start offering. Maybe eventually we'll even have to, once we get some badass new shirts, maybe we'll have to do a giveaway on the show here for some of the longtime listeners and followers here of Ring Respect Radio on Thursday nights with the video bros.
That's a hell of an idea.
I really think so too. But yeah, you're talking about the total chaos, and I don't lie when I say things along the lines of we broke the attendance record. We possibly broke the goddamn decibel record inside that building. Yeah. And now I know a lot of people joke about a small venue wrestling and stuff like that. But I mean, we packed that damn thing, 220 plus people we're putting 220 to 240 in that building. That is the limit of what we're able to accept inside that building to begin with, including ring performers and stuff like that, because there is not a lot of bookable places in Saskatoon for putting on a pro wrestling show and drawing large capacity crowds like they can at other big centers and stuff like that too. So we do the best with what we've got, and man, it's exciting. I mean, my energy level was through the roof that night. The PPW Nation, wild as always. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was completely humbled when we had people coming up and shaking our hands and saying, no introduction required. I watched the show, big fan. I'm like, holy shit, like, thanks. Like, I was stunned by this, Papa Smokes, because in the 6 years that you and I have been doing this kind of work, I think that might have been one of the first times we've ever had that said, at least in person anyway.
No, for sure. And it's not only a thrill for us, but it's good to know that some of the fans are out there watching this stuff, and some of the wrestlers and some of the wrestling trainees as well. And yeah, it was for sure. As she would know too, she saw everybody in the building numerous times at the beer table there. But yeah, there's been a lot of talk about our venue and people wanting us to maybe move to a bigger size and stuff like that. And it's been discussed, and I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I think that that everybody really likes the Cosmos Center, especially because it is that size. To me, it makes for a better fan experience. Everybody's jammed in there together. There's no people in other sections that you never see. Everybody sees everybody. Everybody can hear everybody. So all these chants and all these comments and jokes and cheers and catcalls and all that stuff gets heard by everybody. And you've seen it numerous times, Munson, as well as I have. Sometimes the fans, with their interactions with each other during the match, start to just basically go off on their own and entertain themselves and each other with all their ridiculous calls and jokes and everything. It's such a good time, and I would like to just leave it in this venue exactly for that reason, that it brings the fans to, closer together on an intimate basis, you know.
Yeah, we got our Burman saying it's like a home. It's associated with PPW forever. It really is, and that's the thing. It's become the PPW venue. Of course, B. Carter, the wrestlers really play off the crowd. They sure do. I mean, it is electric how good they interact with the crowd, how they get involved. And again, some of the stuff you don't necessarily see. You see a little bit about the people who have taken recordings, posted them online. You see what we put together on the show. What you don't always see is just the interaction too during intermission and stuff like that. A lot of the boys come out interacting with the crowd. I know it was really, really, I mean, this was a cute moment, and I'm going to go there. I mean, big old tough guy like me. The cute moment was watching the little girl on her dad's shoulders at the recent show, holding the Albanian flag for Bharat Karani as he made his entrance. And despite Bharat, not necessarily having a heart for most of the PPW nation, he couldn't help but give a good old thumbs up to this little girl who was clearly there in support of him, bought a shirt, got an autograph and stuff like that. It was a really nice, touching moment to be able to see somebody interacting with Bharat Karani. Again, he's a big, nasty, evil guy when it comes to the in-ring work. But again, when he sees a 6-year-old holding his home country flag and everything like that, he melts just a little bit.
For sure. And, as much as the wrestlers and the fans enjoy that intimate experience at Cosmos Center too, I think it's fun for little kids too, because I think of myself when I went to the live shows as a little kid. They were still big. It was AWA, like it was getting crowds of 7, 8, 9,000 in the Winnipeg Arena, in a big hockey arena. So it's not as intimate. You can't see the other fans on the other side of the ring. I was never sitting ringside or even on the floor at that time. We were just, regular people up in the seats kind of thing. So you didn't have that experience. And I also never met any wrestlers back then. Of course, it's Hulk Hogan and Nick Bockwinkel and Jesse Ventura. They're bigger stars than what we're used to around here, kind of thing. But I still think for a little kid going to an indie show in their home city, getting to be up close to the wrestlers, having some action go on, maybe in their section or maybe at the guardrail outside the ring, getting a good look at the guys and a good look at some action. And then maybe a special moment like that too, where a wrestler takes notice of you, gives you a little nod, a wave, a little pat on the head, and then maybe an autograph or something later. That's great for kids. And you make a fan for life when you do stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be exciting too, because again, it's easy for us to talk about what's happened more recently, but again, some of that stuff hasn't released on YouTube just yet, Pops folks. I'm in the midst of getting some of the new faces edited up here. We're going to have some debuts coming on the YouTube channel within the next about a month to 5 weeks time. You guys are going to finally get to see the YouTube debut on Prairie Pro Wrestling of both Son of Irish and the Rhinestone Cowboy, Stephen Crow. Let's talk about the two of them for a moment, because what a splash they made, an instant impact with the PPW Nation upon their debuts for us. First of all, Son of Irish, fantastic person. Glad that he was able to join PPW roster as well, too. Been tearing it up, very good. Son of the Irishman, very well-known Canadian wrestler as well himself, and a lot of potential in this young man. Really glad to have him on board.
Well, he is very young too. Isn't he under 20 years old? And
probably around the 20-year mark or so. Yeah.
Yeah. So looking really good for a guy that can't have a whole ton of experience yet, but yet he looks like he does. And he's got a cool look. He's got a cool name, and he's got it going on as a prairie Western Canadian wrestler. And I know that what regular wrestling crowds are like. They like their favorites. They want to see their regular wrestlers that they like, that they're used to, that they expect to see on the card every time. But PPW has been good about mixing in some new talent. First, we had Colton Kelly and Bharat Gorani some months ago, the last calendar year. Those guys started getting booked out here and having some matches. And now we've got Son of the Irishman and the Rhinestone Cowboy, as well as the return of Michael Blaze. So these fans, I know that they love to see their favorites and everything, but haven't they responded well to the new talent we've brought in? They've gotten right behind them. They've done exactly what a good crowd will do, is cheer for their favorites and heckle the guys that they don't like, the rule breakers, so to speak. And it's been an injection of new blood and fresh air into PPW. And these guys really flesh out the roster, and they give our regular PPW wrestlers a new opportunity to work with somebody else and show the fans a new and different kind of match.
And anyone who would know that Son of Irish is a kid to be watching, it'd be that man right there, Chris Parrish, a former tag team partner of Son of Irish. So yeah, it's fantastic. And again, get your boy to get a hold of me. I reached out to him a few weeks ago. We want to get Irish on the show sometime here soon and talk about his Prairie Pro Wrestling run so far. So tell him to check his messages so that he can get back to me again. Birdman saying the tag match they were in was so great. And again, that's why we brought it to you for a second time. That match happened in the December show. People loved it so much. We decided to do it all over again. And Parrish saying he's trying to get him on Busting Out. Oh, well, I mean, we could have him on both shows. We could talk PPW with him on a Thursday night. We could talk all sorts of other stuff with him, and then going off the rails on a Sunday on Busting Out as well, too. We'll get him. We'll get him eventually. We'll work on it. But yeah, and even Basser saying that show was a riot. Now, I want to talk about riots. Let's talk about riots for a minute. Basser, you're a riot, my man. Front row at the PPW show this Saturday. Kid isn't easiest to get a hold of. I'll break him down. But bring him back to Basser for a minute. So this guy, wild as hell, front row. And now we're talking about Stephen Crow, the Rhinestone Cowboy, comes out. Basser brings fucking cap guns to the show to fire off during Stephen Crow's entrance. Fantastic. This was funny. It was great. I'm not even sure that even Stephen Crow, as heel-like as he is, couldn't help but to crack a little smile when he saw Basser with the cap guns. There was also the one member of the PPW Nation. Unfortunately, I don't know the young lady's name, but again, she came decked out in all pink, just like Stephen Crow, with the pink cowboy hat there as well, too. This guy's a heel, and the PPW Nation have rejected that. They're like, hell no, we love Stephen Crow, and he is over as hell with our audience.
Yeah, and I wonder if some of them recognize him from some of his previous non-wrestling appearances in PPW, but we won't go into that. No, he made a huge splash as soon as he started. That outfit is just so dazzling and eye-catching, bright pink leather with the rhinestones and everything. And then he comes out to that Glenn Campbell song, obviously the Rhinestone Cowboy. And man, every time I've seen one of his matches, I've had that song in my head for days afterwards. It's very infectious, but the fans love him, man. He comes out with a little shimmy and a little two-step here and there, and it's just a kind of a weird thing that he does, and it's completely over with the fans. They love him. They think he's awesome. They love his mullet, and he's had some great matches, usually tagging with Michael Richard Blaze, a fellow Edmonton wrestler as well, that has done a lot of work in Saskatoon and has a special relationship with the fans here as well. Not quite as loved as the Rhinestone Cowboy, I think, but yeah, these guys have just been like a breath of fresh air in this promotion, and I'm just thankfully the fans like them and have taken to them and want to see them now at all the shows.
Yeah, and again, it seems like everybody always happy to see new faces, and that's what brought us to the interview that we had tonight. Shaun Moore took on a brand new face of PPW, and Marz The Specialist. I want to get your opinions on him. I know Pop Smokes, this guy come out there. I knew a little bit about him. Again, I've seen some of his work when he was working with Love Pro Wrestling. He does some of the stuff over there. Speaking of them, yes, I'm going to give a plug out. They do have a show coming up this weekend. A lot of the people we're talking about that are on PPW can be seen at Love Pro Wrestling as well, too. So definitely, if you like these wrestlers, go and support them in all aspects of what they do in their career, including this weekend at Love Pro Wrestling. I believe that's tomorrow night. But yes, Marz The Specialist making his debut for PPW, Papa Spokes. Again, this guy may not be the tallest wrestler stepping into a PPW ring, but damn it if he isn't one of the toughest. And he is one hell of a worker. He is tough as nails, in fact. What a match he had with Shaun Moore. I was very impressed by Marz The Specialist and hoping that we get to see a lot more of this guy. What were your opinions on him?
Yeah, I liked him right off the bat. You know that I always film the entrances, so I get a good close-up look at all the guys as they come out. And, man, Marz impressed me right off the bat. He had the whole look. He had the wet hair hanging down, and he was peeking through that. And he's got the beard, and he's got those piercing eyes. He walked right up to the camera and gave a look into that, too. Had me kind of just a little bit rattled as I was trying to tape him as he was going by there, and the fans took to him as well. And he's a good wrestler as well. He's a young guy. He's got a bunch of skill, and he came into the ring with a certain psychology of intensity, especially in facing a very, very worthy opponent like Shaun Moore. He came in there without fear, and in a new building for a new promotion that he's never worked for. I thought the guy made a huge splash, and I'd love to see more of him in PPW. He made a splash with the fans as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of Marz The Specialist.
Yeah, me too as well. And Basser wants to know if this is the guy. You know what, Basser? Not quite, because this is actually what you said, and I remember quite clearly. You said out loud, "Hey, Shaun, pick on someone your own size." And yes, that is the guy you were directing that at. And yes, that got quite the chuckle from the PPW Nation as well, too. Fantastic. B. Carter thinking we should get PPW on Pro Wrestling TV. I've heard there's an opening on Thursday nights. Well, shit, that would be really, really cool. But I don't know if we tape often enough to keep up with a schedule for Pro Wrestling TV, as awesome as that would be. I mean, mind you, if Seder Mania can get his ass on Pro Wrestling TV, I'm pretty sure that PPW could get on there as well, too.
Oh, God, we should have the prime time spot there for sure.
Yeah, that's right. But, yeah, they. You know what? To be honest, B. Carter, a little bit of news. Dombrowski actually mentioned that there is some information coming out very shortly about Fusion. There should be something happening. So hopefully we will see a return to Fusion coming up. Maybe they haven't completely forgotten about us just yet, and Papa Smokes and I could get back to reviewing it. He also kind of mentioned a few things about trying to find it here in Canada. Hopefully that could be on its way, or there's something along the lines of what we could find. He was very, very thoughtful and helpful in reaching back out to me and stuff like that. So, big shout out to Dombrowski for caring about the Canadians, at least anyway, when it comes to MLW right now.
Yeah, we're already in Canada, but it feels like we got left out in the cold with MLW too. And I'm not personally offended by it or anything. I know that the MLW would love to have us all watching it. That's not the question. It's just it seems a little awkward if we can't, if none of us can figure out a way to watch this, even including like some underhanded internet methods. We can't even find it on some of that stuff. So if they could get it, if they can tell us about some way that we can actually watch it through that Reels TV somehow, that would be great. And then we could continue on with our reviews, because I already miss the boys. I miss watching our guys, and I miss prognosticating about what's going to happen in the various title pictures. And also, I'd love to keep interviewing the wrestlers of MLW. So I want to keep up on this stuff and keep the train rolling, because we made a lot of progress in the last 2-3 years with our reviews and our interviews. Let's keep it going, man. I love it.
Oh, yeah. But in the meantime and in between time, I'm loving this Ring Respect talking about PPW. And it seems like we've got the audience's attention. So it's been fantastic to be able to definitely put over some of the local talent and everything like that as well, too, here in Western Canada. It's fantastic. Again, a spot on Pro Wrestling TV would be massive for not only Prairie Pro, but for all of us involved, including all the wrestlers. Again, the talent inside that ring is what really deserves to get seen. And again, we mentioned B. Carter, you mentioned earlier about Shaun Moore and Alexander Hammerstone. Again, that thought is definitely crossed Shaun Moore's mind. Court Bauer, man, like Shaun Moore is an unsigned talent right now. Go get him. This is a guy who would light things up in MLW. We've said it before. I'm pretty certain if it wasn't me, it was definitely you, Pop Smoke. One of us picked Shaun Moore when we were doing our mock draft for the new MLW season.
For sure, Shaun Moore's a stud as a pick in any kind of a draft like that. And I'm just for fun, I'm just thinking about, presenting Shaun Moore to Court Bauer and the MLW people. You could say he's got a lot of experience. He's trained. He's been all through touring all through Canada, U.S. and Mexico. He's got a bunch of experience with doing lucha style. Why not stick him in that middleweight category there, and let's have some matches. Lindsay Dorado, any of those other cool luchadors. Sam Adonis, there you go. And any of those lucha guys, from Octagon Jr. to Aramis. I don't know who's still there or anything, but there's a constant pipeline of excellent lucha talent coming up from AAA. So let's get Shaun Moore going in there. I think it would work out beautifully, and Shaun could get on TV, so to speak, at least on streaming TV, and get some experience doing that stuff. I think he would thrive in a company like that where he could get some big exposure.
But hey, maybe doors are being open and he could be taking a step in a bigger direction. Like you said, he was backstage at Monday Night Raw, getting that experience. Who knows? Maybe an NXT contract isn't too far down the line for the one Shaun Moore. MLW should sign. You damn straight they should.
Oh yeah. He can handle it.
B. Carter wants to know, are Cannonball and Colton Kelly related? No, not at all. But you know what? On that night, the other night, Saturday night, they were definitely bros inside that ring, looking after one of another. And what a team they made as well, too. This is where I wanted to go. So this is a great transition. I'm glad B. Carter brought this up. Talking about that main event. What a fantastic main event it was. Chris Bears, they are not. Main event wasn't a wrestling match. It was a brawl. You got that straight. We knew that the bad blood was brewing between Colton Kelly and Cannonball Kelly and their opponents of the night, El Asesino, Sheik Akbar Shabazz. The stipulation, if one of the Kellys manages to pin the champ, Sheik Akbar Shabazz, that at April 22nd tapings, we were going to have that championship matchup one-on-one against the Sheik. And it happened, Pop folks. This chaos, all hell broke loose. The fight went into the audience. El Asesino just about fucking died when he came off the top and dove into the audience, into his opponents. It was absolute pure madness, but it was a beautiful disaster at the same time. Loved every second of it. These guys putting their lives on the line. And again, the fans excited, although he was very shocked. I think it was a moment thing when Colton Kelly took the pin over Sheik Akbar Shabazz, because Cannonball was pinning El Asesino at the time. The referee did the double count because I'm pretty sure he had lost all track of who was the legal guys at that point. Throws down the three counts. Clearly, the guy who's going to get the title shot, Colton Kelly, he was a little bit shocked, a little bit surprised, thought he had maybe pissed off Cannonball. But, of course, Cannonball nothing but happy for his good friend Colton Kelly there, wishing him goodwill and hopefully watching him take on Sheik Akbar Shabazz and possibly dethroning the champion on April 22nd.
Well, and that's what Cannonball showed to all of us in the crowd and everything, but you could see the look on his face when he realized that Colton Kelly had got that prized championship shot pin that he got. And I never seen a look on Cannonball's face like that before. And I'm not sure if he got around that or managed to make his own peace with that, because that PPW title is extremely highly prized in this area, in this entire province in Western Canada here. And title shots don't come all that often. And I know that Cannonball Kelly has had 2 shots at that title now. The ladder match to crown the first champion, which was won by Sheik Akbar Shabazz through some very underhanded and nefarious tactics, I might add. And then Cannonball Kelly got another shot in a no disqualification match, and that was a complete and utter brawl, which Akbar Shabazz again held on to the title from that. I know that frustrated Cannonball Kelly. We interviewed him on the Bro Show before that second match, and he was so optimistic, looking forward to that. He had his dreams. He wanted to win that title in front of all his hometown crowd in Saskatoon, hold that belt up for the PPW Nation. And once again, the Sheik, through his tactics, was able to hold on to that belt. And I know that hurts Cannonball inside. So you also know that he had to be wanting to get that pin on Shabazz in the tag team match so that he could get another title shot. I know that he believed this time he could win it. And when he realized that it had been Colton Kelly that got that pinfall, the look on Cannonball's face, boy, I'll tell you, he didn't really know what to think. All he knew is that his dream had been pushed out of his grasp, and he was just staring at Colton Kelly. So I don't know, just a little bit of tension, a little bit of emotion at the end of that match. I don't quite know what to think of it, but I do know that Colton Kelly has got himself a title shot against the Sheik.
Yeah, it's going to be a great main event at the next event. That's coming up Saturday, April the 22nd, live here in Saskatoon. Pop Smokes, you and I are going to be on hand. And there's a little bit of a sneak thing that I'm going to let you guys behind the scenes on. I might be working on a little special project for the next PPW show, and we might, if they're done in time, have some beautiful brand new video entrances for every single one of the wrestlers at the next PPW show. So if they are done in time and ready to go and pending no glitches with the technology at the venue, Papa Smokes, we might be taking it just that one step further for PPW at the next show.
All right, this is exciting, Munson. You've always been the wizard of the laptop, and you're going to work some more of your magic. I remember the previous promotion we worked for experimented with having some of those entrance videos on the screen at the time, and you had made some really tight videos at that time, but that was years ago. I know you've learned a lot since then. I'm really excited to see the results.
Some cool stuff on the way. I got about 4 of them done so far, but we got a roster of at least 16 to 17 workers coming in for the next show here, Papa Smoke. So it is going to be a fantastic packed show with a packed PPW Nation, and we're looking forward to having you guys in that live capacity. Again, the PPW videos on YouTube are getting several, really. I mean, I probably should go back and check. I know the shorts are doing extremely well. I know things have been picking up. That's because of great people like yourself, B. Carter, our Birdman, Basser, Parrish, everybody who tunes in week to week on the channel, who's been subscribing, helping push out the name. It couldn't be done without you guys. Honestly, it's you guys that continue to get those watched hours up, to continue to spread the word, and everything that you do that get those videos noticed. And that's, I think, what's accounted for the success of Prairie Pro Wrestling as of late. And it's great to see. It is such a cool feeling to tune in and look and be like, holy shit, we've got videos that got this many views on them and stuff like that. I feel humble that the talent is being seen by that many eyes.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea of the video bros as commentators, as video guys, and as podcasters. It's not like we're looking to get famous out of this. We want to put the boys over. And of course, when I say the boys, I mean all the wrestlers, girls, boys, doesn't matter who it is, but I always call the wrestlers the boys. We're trying to get them over, and we want to represent them. We want to get them out to as many other people as we can, because we've watched them many times. We know they're entertaining. We know they're great, and we know that other people will agree with that. All they have to do is have the opportunity to see these guys in action, and I swear most people will fall in love with PPW talent as well.
Yeah, our Birdman PPW only goes up from here. You know what? It
Yeah.
sure will. Again, we're seeing the rise in subscribers and watch towers and everything like that on YouTube. We're packing those houses every single time, and that's key, because that atmosphere, that fun, the PPW Nation become part of the show, and that's what makes it fantastic, Papa Smokes. It makes our job a lot easier when we have got the PPW Nation doing half the work for us, getting those chants going, calling all the things that they see as they see it and stuff like that. You and I could sit back, put our feet up, have some fun, call a few moves in the meantime, and watch as the talent just continues to rise and get over throughout the entire world. And I hope that it only means big things for each and every one of them. But you know what, Papa Smokes? I think we're going to call a close to this episode of Ring Respect Radio. I want everybody who's currently tuning in, hang in just a little bit longer, because we are going to go in just a moment to raid a guy, Heel Kevin, who had joined myself and Chris Parrish on Busting Out. This guy does a fantastic show, and if you've not yet checked him out, this guy is full of energy, awesome dude. He's got lots of great things to talk about, and go on over and check out his show. So we're going to be rating him in just a moment here. But in the meantime and in between time, I'm going to ask you, Papa Smokes, where can the good people find you?
All right. I am always at work and at play in Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as Twitter. Address is at smokes_papa. And then I can be found sometimes on Twitch at Papa_smokes_.
And you know where you can find me. I am Bobby Munson. You see me here all throughout the week. This show, Sundays, with my good man there, Chris Parrish, for Busting Out. You'll be able to check us out this Sunday as well, too. Check out the Video Bros on Video Bros SK on Instagram, and check out Prairie Pro Wrestling all over the place. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to our local establishment, the Video Bros Network, and Prairie Pro Wrestling, where you can catch Papa Smokes and I every Saturday. If you're watching on Twitch, we are going over right now to Heel Kevin. If you're watching on YouTube, hang with us for just a moment longer, because we are going to go to the outro video. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, we appreciate you, and we will see you guys next Thursday night for another party with the Video Bros. Take care.